Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, we have a slight change with tradition. We're going to do the speeches first. I believe that's to ensure some level of sobriety. On my part, oh God. Who sat my brother in front of me? Okay. So on behalf of Debbie and Sam, I would like to welcome you to a day that many of us thought would never happen. I'm sure most of us have been on the receiving end of Debbie's "I'm never getting married" rant. It's lovely to see Sam's family and friends here, many of whom I don't know. However, I will endeavour to speak to most of you before the end of the day. That's something for you to look forward to. I believe some of you travelled great distances to be here. Thailand and Yorkshire. There are some people that Debbie and Sam would have dearly loved to have been here today, but are unfortunately no longer with us. So I'd like you all to raise a glass to absent friends. Thank you. I have 4 daughters, and I'm often asked if I miss not having a son. Well, my answer to that is Debbie. She likes football and trains. She can drink a pint, wield a shovel better than most men, earned respect on the building site, and not just because she was the boss's daughter, got a degree, and now married possibly one of the nicest men I've ever met. As for Sam, he's been a part of our family for about 15 years. And in all that time, I've got absolutely nothing on him. He's the quiet lad that takes it all in and then floors me with the killer comment. However, he has suffered cruelly at the hands of my youngest daughter, who at about age 5 would call him daddy in public. Scarred him for life. I also overheard her saying the other day that now she's got him, the gloves can really come off. You've got my sympathy. Apparently I'm supposed to give advice on marriage, but after 32 years I hardly feel qualified. But if I was going to give advice, I'd say don't. Marry for money, it's cheaper to borrow it. These two rarely show any public affection for each other, but it's pretty obvious that they're made for each other. So I'd like you all to raise a glass to Debbie and Sam, the bride and groom. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you for that, Simon. I was a bit worried based on some past experience, but no, that was really lovely, actually.
No dad dancing this time.
Yeah. So, get this out of the way. My wife and I are incredibly happy to have you all here today, sharing this with us. Appreciate the efforts that people have made to get here. As already mentioned, we've got Simon from Bangkok and people from the north and people from Scotland and all over. So, it's really great and it really means a lot to us, and it's important to us that you all enjoy your day. So once this last kind of bit of formality is out of the way, I hope you'll join us for a few drinks and a bit of dancing. So I've got a few thank yous to make, which I'll keep quite brief. Firstly, Simon and Cheryl, thank you for raising this one-of-a-kind, intelligent, independent young lady. It was a strange experience for me 15 years ago, this only child being thrust into your household of 4 exuberant daughters, shall I say. But I'm very glad that I was. I'd like to think I've given you a bit of male company along the way, Simon. So, and Jason and Kath, my mum and dad, thanks for raising me to be the kind of man that I hope is going to make a really good husband for Debbie. You've always both been role models for me, and I hope that our marriage is going to be as happy as yours is. Yeah. I was going to take some inspiration from your sense of humour for this speech, Dad, but my better judgment got in the way. So yeah, we've got a lot to thank our parents for, including helping us to make today happen. I would also like to thank our mums for helping making some of the flower arrangements and table decorations you can see in front of you. So just a little token of our appreciation. So yeah, there are lots of other people who've helped make today happen. So thank you to Becky and to Matt, I believe, for making the cake that you can see, which looks incredible. So looking forward to trying that. And then Emma has been busily drying flower petals for months to make the confetti. So thank you for that. And I would like to make a special mention to my Uncle Malcolm and Auntie Shirley, who are going to be celebrating their 57th wedding anniversary tomorrow. So that's a real inspiration to us at the start of our marriage. So if you'd all like to raise a glass to Shirley and Malcolm. So to the bridesmaids, thank you all for being there for Debbie. I'm very grateful it was all you getting ready with her this morning and not me, but I understand it was quite calm, believe it or not. So Vicky, Susie and Becky, thank you for welcoming me into your family and I'm going to say education over the years that you've given me. Emma, Laura and Janine, I think you all have a beautiful friendship and I'm lucky to count you all as friends as well, so thank you. A special mention to Laura as well, actually, who I think she was asked to be a bridesmaid over a year ago, but recently accidentally booked flights to Marbella for this weekend. So if she disappears after the meal, then we know where she's gone. So, ladies and gents, to the bridesmaids. To the bridesmaids. And of course, to the groomsmen. We have shared a lot of great memories over the last 15 years or so, or a bit longer actually. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to come. Mostly drunken, but we'll see. But thank you all for your support, now and always. So yeah, that's the thank yous out the way. Mate, that was heartfelt, thanks. So this wedding has been a long time coming. Debbie and I celebrated our 15-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago. So we've quite literally spent half our lives together. So I think it's only right we've finally got round to today. I don't think there are many people who can say that they met their wife hanging around in a park with a bunch of 15-year-olds. Or maybe only with a lawyer present. But but that was the start of our journey. You know, childhood sweethearts. So uni followed, 250-mile long-distance relationship, and then we took the step of our first home together in Leeds. But inevitably, deal and family and friends called, and we moved back. Eventually bought a first house together, which you've always said a bigger commitment than today, I think, a mortgage, wasn't it? It's 2 years ago we got engaged in Santa Monica, and now we're here. So one of the nice things about this long journey is that I don't look around this room now seeing a bride side and a groom side, but kind of shared friends and family. So that's lovely. So I'm delighted that today has finally come. That today has finally come. We've been planning this for a long time, and I know I've got a bit carried away at some points. I got told off at work for referring to it as the wedding. And somebody said to me that Harry and Meghan's had actually already been and gone. But Debbie's been really calm, actually, and just kind of watched me getting a bit stressed out and rushing around while being very serene about it all. So thanks for that. I had hoped that today would kind of crown the perfect summer after the Mediterranean weather and England's inevitable success in the World Cup. Sadly, it wasn't to be, but I can honestly say I couldn't be any happier today, even if it had actually come home. And the reason for that is, of course, my beautiful bride, who I'm sure you'll agree looks stunning today. So as I've mentioned, I've had the benefit of growing up with Debbie at my side. And I know that I would not be half the person I am now without her. We've been through highs and lows together. Lucky enough to say mostly highs, I think. And I couldn't wish for a better partner, best friend, and wife. She is kind, honest, fun and beautiful inside and out. Those of you that know Debbie, I'm sure will agree that she's someone who knows her own mind and is never afraid to say it. So I'm incredibly proud of the person that you've become, everything that you've achieved and everything that we've achieved together. You took my breath away today as my bride, but the best thing is you do that on a random Tuesday too. So that's enough from me, enough of that. Anyway, shortly going to hand over to the best man, to James. I met James on my first day of secondary school, where he stood out by virtue of being the loudest person in the room, and I think nothing has changed. I'd also like to thank him for recently proving that he can actually organise a piss-up in a brewery. He's done a great job as best man, and he tells me he's got very little dirt to dish, or at least not much on me, maybe a bit more on Debbie. But so if the speech contains anything bad about me, it's probably not true. So yeah, all that's left, would you please join me in raising a glass to my beautiful bride, to Debbie. To the bride.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Simon. Simon, my first joke was actually based on your dad dancing, which I was hoping would come, but you've let me down a bit, so I'm going to have to go with version 2. So, version 2. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know me, my name is James, and I have the honour today of being Sam's best man. When I arrived at the venue today, I was asked, "Are you here for the best wedding?" I said, "Well, it's a bit too early to tell. Ask me again at the end of the day." But everything's going well so far, isn't it? So, me and Sam have a strong friendship, but a number of months ago, he actually committed a crime against me. I won't go into detail for various reasons, but this crime left me with a mobile phone broken and disfigured beyond repair. And I vowed my revenge. And here I stand with a microphone and a captive audience of Sam's nearest and dearest. So settle in, mate, because this might be a bumpy ride. So, I've been friends with Sam for 19 years now, and we first met, we were in the same class at Dover Boys Grammar School. The first thing that struck me about Sam was his surname, Best. I remember thinking, will he be as talented on the football pitch as his famous namesake, George Best? I soon found out. I shared a picture with Sam, we both played for Walmer Rovers, and it became clear that the surname was where the similarities ended. Far from being a skillful left winger, Sam was more of an unused substitute. And when he did get on the pitch, Sam obviously tried to emulate his heroes, players from his beloved Leeds United, and was therefore bloody useless. But don't feel too sorry for him, because it was clear that his talents lay elsewhere. At school, he was a model student, bright, conscientious and committed. What the rest of us refer to as a bit of a geek. But his hard work paid off, an A-grade student throughout school. And when it came to GCSEs, he was the school's top performer. And he got what his surname had been made for, a headline in the local paper with accompanying mugshot. Simply the best. What an achievement. Unfortunately, it was somewhat overshadowed by the actions of one of his classmates who, upon hearing that he got E's and D's as his grades, lied to the local reporter and got a bigger picture on the accompanying page. My mum still has that picture framed on the mantelpiece. But Sam's academic excellence was clear to see. However, by this point in his life, Sam had encountered a challenge that intellect alone couldn't prepare him for: meeting his wife-to-be. And it was this time that me and Sam became particularly good friends. You see, this was Sam's first significant foray into the dating game, and naturally sought advice from someone who was popular, charismatic, and who had had significant success with the ladies. Unfortunately, he wouldn't speak to Sam, so we had to make do with me. Bit of a joke, really, as the fact that he's still with Debbie shows that he was already better in the dating game than I was. But I must have been able to provide some useful advice, though, as mine and Sam's friendship grew stronger as he moved through school and out into the real world. But I know that Sam looks back on his days at school with fondness, and he misses being top of the class. However, he is now marrying a teacher, and I hear that he does still get the occasional A star on his oral exams. I'll be honest, I was shitting myself about that one. Thank you. Oh. Right. As we grew up and Sam's relationship with Debbie developed, he showed that Debbie wasn't the only love in his life, and there was one thing he loves nearly as much: beer. Sammy Six Cans, we used to call him. And I'm pleased to say this is a passion that we've shared. Me and Sam have spent literally hundreds of hours together in bars and pubs over the years. And you can be forgiven for thinking this is a part of the speech where the stories become particularly interesting. But I'm confronted with two issues. Number one, traditionally a best man would provide the audience with details of the groom's various drunken escapades. But Sam hasn't made this easy. Although Sam does love a drink, he's not a conventional drunk. Far from getting drunk and doing silly things, the more Sam drinks, the more spaced out he becomes. And never mind stupid antics, it's hard enough getting a word out of him. And in my experience, that word is either Leeds or Debbie. And although this might be quite endearing, it doesn't make good best man speech material. Now, there are, of course, a few stories I can tell that are a little bit on the naughty side, and this is where I encounter my second issue. They say you should never upset the bride with your best man speech, and I've been careful to ask Debbie what I can and can't say. She has told me again and again, don't say anything rude, don't refer to anything sexual. Oops. As there will be family members at the wedding who won't want to hear it. Fair enough. Now, with this in mind, I managed to borrow some ear defenders from some workmen that we met on the way in. So, if anything from here on in does prove to be a little bit too much for anyone, please feel free to come up and borrow them. I will need them back at the end, though, as Sam has told me he plans on doing some drilling tonight. It's all right. I had 2 dirty jokes and they're both done now, so you can sit easy. Whew. Right. I forgot where I was now. Yeah, you won't actually need these. They were just a set up for the punchline. Sorry. So I am going to talk to you, Harry, about Sam's stag do. So, in an attempt to overcome some of the issues which I've outlined to you, I tried to put Sam in as many embarrassing situations as possible on his stag do. We made him race a 7-foot rhino in front of 10,000 people. He lost. We made him dress up in lederhosen, which actually he looked annoyingly good in. Very good legs. And we made him pose with a nude life model. Reluctantly, very reluctantly, I hasten to add. But none of this was worse than the fate that befell him when we played combat archery. Sam, in an attempt to eliminate another member of the team, came out from behind cover and was immediately shot in the groin from a distance of about 10 feet with great force. Thanks, Jack. With his baby, looks like butter wouldn't melt. He nearly killed him. Honestly, he hit the deck and didn't move about 45 minutes. And for a while, ladies and gentlemen, it looked like the wedding night and any plans for a future baby best were in jeopardy. But upon arriving home, I hear that Debbie was only too happy to help by applying some pressure to the affected area. And I'm pleased to say that he's since made a full recovery. Sam being Sam, he took everything that we threw or shot at him on his stag in his stride. See, Sam isn't one for getting angry and upset. He remains even-tempered, even in the most trying of times. And this is one of the things I like most about him, his consistency, his consistent temperament, his consistent love for his beautiful bride. He's even had the same haircut for the near 20 years I've known him. If it works, mate, it works, doesn't it? But there have been times when I've seen this facade crack, when I've seen a different side to Sam. You see, Sam does get angry, but only in a very specific circumstance, when he and Debbie play board games together. I remember one particularly heated game of Articulate, where Debbie couldn't guess the right answer from Sam's description, and he threw all of the game cards on the floor. We thought it was a joke, but the look in his eyes told a very different story. You'd think that as a Leeds fan, he'd be used to losing. But when it comes to board games, only victory will do. And when his high standards can't be met, there's hell to pay. Honestly, the success of this marriage rests on them being able to stay away from board games. And if anyone has bought them an ornamental Monopoly or Cluedo board for a wedding gift, I'd take it back if I was you, because their untimely divorce could be on your hands. Sorry. On the whole, though, despite these outbursts, I'm lucky to have been friends with Sam for as long as I have. And there is one main reason for this. Simply put, Sam is the funniest man I know. And something I envy about Sam is that he doesn't have to try to be funny. Some people try too hard, but not Sam. He can sit back, quietly reviewing a situation or conversation, then come in with a witty remark or scathing put-down at exactly the right time, and often at my own expense. He's like a comedy sniper, only taking his shot when he needs to and hitting the mark every single time. And one thing I've never told Sam is how disappointed I am when a social situation doesn't involve him, and how happy I am when it does. Because simply put, things are more fun when he's around. Now, I do want to give you an example of Sam's talent for wit, but he takes after his dad, so most of his jokes aren't fit for polite company. I do, however, have one funny story which I think that I can get away with. So, no, why does Noddy have a blue hat? No, I'm not doing that. If anyone wants the punchline to that joke, ask me about 10 o'clock and I'll only be too happy to say it. So, funny story. So, myself, Sam and some other friends had a day out in Calais for one of our birthdays. It'd been a long day and it was time to go home. Unfortunately, we couldn't all get on the same bus back to port, so one group got on one bus whilst the others waited behind. Sam waited for the next bus, and being the caring guy he is, he wanted to wave his friends off. So he stood on the grass verge, in the middle of the road, waited for the bus to go past, and gave them his friendliest wave. Problem is, he was waving at the wrong bus. Far from saluting his friends, he was actually pissing off a bus full of locals. And you would think he would stop when he realised he didn't. He nearly got his picture in the paper again that day, albeit for very different reasons. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a lot of fun looking back over my friendship with Sam, and being his best man today has been a privilege. Not only has it given me the chance to wreak my revenge, but it now gives me the opportunity to say just how beautiful the bride looks today. And Debbie, I know that I've never really given you a proper compliment, but you do look stunning today. And I mean that. Give thanks to our bridesmaids and outline what today means to me. The truth is, I've never really known a Sam without a Debbie, nor a Debbie without a Sam, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm lucky to have grown up alongside them both, and in all the time I've known them, I've never doubted that this day would come, although we have had to wait a little bit longer than I might have thought. And it is with great pride that I stand alongside them today, because today represents an achievement that should not be underestimated. Today is the end of a 15-year journey and the start of a new one. Today shows that Sam and Debbie have a love that is unmatched, a love that has endured from their teens up until the present day. Today shows that Sam and Debbie have stuck together when it might have been easier to drift apart. And today shows that Sam and Debbie have succeeded where so many others have failed. I, for one, would like to congratulate them from the bottom of my heart for all they've achieved together, wish them all the best for the future, and tell them how honoured I am to have been the best man at their wedding. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to join me in standing and raising your glasses to the new Mr. and Mrs. Best. Mr. and Mrs. Best. The best around.